Call the meeting to order in a moment of silent prayer. Lord, help me today. Thank you, Jesus. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mrs. Franks.
Mayor Kindle.
Present.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Present.
Councilman Jenny.
Here.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Here.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Present.
Councilman Toussaint.
Present.
Acting City Manager Szymanski.
Here.
City Attorney DeWally.
Here.
All right. One, it's not in the minutes, but we're going to have a quick presentation from the Grosse Pointe School Board members that are running for election. So, Mrs. Warden, do you want to start off and then you call your colleagues, each one? Or y'all can all come up there.
Good evening, Mayor Kindle and mayors and council members. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for letting us go first. My name is Colleen Warden. I'm currently on the Board of Trustees with the Grosse Pointe Board of Education, and I'm thrilled to be before the Harper Woods City Council. I just want to say that I am running for re-election, and I look forward to meeting all of you in the community during the campaign. And I want to say that I have very much appreciated our partnership with Harper Woods, and I'm thrilled to see the progress that's being made on the Pope Hart property. And I look forward to an increased participation with Harper Woods and the elected officials with the Grosse Pointe Board of Education as we move forward. And that's one of my goals as I run for re-election. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for letting us speak.
You're on.
Good afternoon. My name is Laura Hull, and I am also running for school board. I'm a parent in the Grosse Pointe Public School District with 2 daughters, and I am a public school teacher in Lakeview in St. Clair Shores. But I also taught at North High School for 3 years, and so I have strong ties there. And we just wanted to come and introduce ourselves to you and to make sure that you know that Harper Woods is a very important part of our community in the Grosse Pointe Public Schools, and we want to do everything we can to foster that relationship and continue that. So as a collective group, we believe in putting kids first, making sure that our teachers are supported, and promoting transparency, and making sure that we, what's our fourth? Yes, making sure that we have fiscal responsibility. So we continue to do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. My name is Tim Klepp, resident of Grosse Pointe Park, and I'm running with this team. We have one team member who couldn't be here tonight, Clint Derringer. He wanted to, but we'll probably make a subsequent meeting. As Colleen and Laura have said, we wanted to introduce ourselves tonight, say hello, and convey how much we appreciate the partnership with Harper Woods, and as we for what we're doing right now in the school districts for our students from Harper Woods, giving them a welcome home in our schools. We want to continue that, and where we might be falling short, part of what we'll be looking to do is help students from Harper Woods find a place in our schools and really feel welcome and help them grow. So, thank you for making the time. Thank you very much for slotting us in, and we'll let you get on with your business today. Thank you.
Any questions from the council members?
I have a question. Colleen, I don't know if you remember me, but do you still teach spinning?
I do, and I do remember you. Yes, yes, I do remember. Yes, thank you. Yeah, at the Point Fitness in Harper Woods. Yes, one of our fine businesses in Harper Woods. So yes, I do. Thank you for remembering that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do not teach spinning, but I do teach bourbon tasting. If anybody.
I just wanted to compliment the fact that in all of my tenure up here on this board, I don't believe I've ever seen any members from the Grosse Pointe School Board come here, or candidates for the Grosse Pointe School Board come to any of our meetings. So thank you very much for doing this.
I just want to say that I appreciate you guys sitting in the audience, because you see me sitting in every one of your meetings, making you guys be accountable to our students in Harper Woods. So I appreciate you guys being here, and I appreciate what you said, and I hope that you stick to it, that our kids in Harper Woods matter. Thank you.
I wanted to add I'm a former Harper Woods resident as well. My husband and I bought our first home here, so deep ties.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All righty then. So I need the presentation from the Economic Development. No, this is a presentation from, that's okay. Who's talking?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
So, go ahead.
We're going to make this brief. There's a report that we give to the city manager from time to time, and it's rather voluminous, so we're going to make it brief. We're just going to do an update on the kinds of activities that we have undertaken. Can everybody hear me? Oh, okay. Usually you don't. That's why I asked. So, I'd like to start with a report on Fraser Square. So that you are familiar with that name, that is the name that the developer has given to the purport site development called Fraser Square. There will be 71 units. There will be 23 townhouses, and the rest will be duplexes. All 2-bedroom. We expect the price points to be between $2 and $250. However, some will be reserved for low and moderate income folk who fit the definitions that HUD has passed down. For example, at 80% area median income, there will be a family of 4 making about $55,000. At 120% of area median income, it would be a family of 2 making, at 120%, $90,000. So you can see there's going to be an income spread, but most of the units will be sold to people making at least $80,000, $90,000, and $100,000. The next report has to do with the community center. As you probably know, we got $1.5 million to do a community center. Wayne County chimed in with $379,000, and we will make up the rest. It's a $2.4 million development. It will be simple, straightforward, and a place that the public should enjoy. We're finalizing the design at this point, and the rec department will have its headquarters there. So finally, we can move out of that shed, I call it, and move into a place that really should be welcomed by everybody once we finish it. We're supposed to complete the construction by no later than June of 2026 and open it shortly thereafter. So by the time school opens in 2026, we should have a community center that we'll all be proud of. I'll let you.
My responsibility is the Pocket Park on Ross Common. As you know, we have a $200,000 grant from the state of Michigan. We sent out a survey to everyone's home. The mayor and I went and personally knocked on doors, and we've gotten a few of them back, where the request of the community is that they have some sort of a butterfly sitting park. Nothing with a lot of children or a lot of noise. That's all they want. That's all I have on that.
Okay. We're going to come back with a report on the the redevelopment ready cities status. As you know, we are pursuing that. Hopefully, we'll get some set-aside money once we complete the process. Recently, the young lady, Stephanie Pena, who is now the person overseeing that, at least the Harper Woods RRC process, gave us what is called a community snapshot. I'm going to be recommending to this city manager that we make that presentation at one of the meetings in September. That presentation will also have present Stephanie Pena, who will start off the presentation with her assessment of where we are. And by that time, you will have the snapshot that she recently sent. We will, at that point, be about 63% where we need to be. The marijuana report is going to be very brief. We have 3, I'll call them firms, that have qualified, except one firm may not make the deadline. So that makes for another opening. What that means is too complicated for me to go into at this point, but we'll be reporting more on that. The sidewalk repair program is probably going to be one of the busiest construction projects we've had in some time. We have a grant from Wayne County. We have a grant, which is a TAP grant, from SIMCOG, and we have money that we're going to match that with. The entire amount should be just a little bit less than $500,000. We're going to target sidewalks where the trees have uprooted the sidewalks over the years and get rid of as many trip hazards as we can. When I reported last time on the $389,000 that we got from Wayne County, there's a special areas where we can spend that money. I think I passed out the last time a map to the council that showed where these special areas were, and they're income dependent. But we should have activity that will touch probably every part of the city once we get that off the ground.
Don't forget the Blues Festival.
Go ahead.
Blues Festival. The city's
Go ahead.
Blues.
Go ahead. Yeah, tell them about it.
And again, don't forget the Blues Festival that'll take place on August the 24th, where our city manager, John Szymanski, will be performing along with Thornetta Davis and Tino Gross and the Chandler Park Academy. The arts will start at about 1, so people are welcome to come and find their spot in the park, and the music will begin at 4.
At this particular point, McKenna and Associates is helping us to rewrite our zoning ordinance. We had our first meeting, which I thought was pretty successful, and once they finish the process, we will have a brand new ordinance updating all those sections that are rather obsolete at this point, and we are expecting to have a tip-top zoning ordinance at the end of the process. We're going to make that our report for now. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Do you want me to stay for questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, thank you. One quick question about the sidewalk repair, which is definitely, I'm glad to hear that. Is that going to require, to get those ready, that means we have to chop down some trees, right? We can't just...
I'm sorry, I'm not quite hearing you.
Oh, okay.
In order to get the sidewalk, do they have to chop down trees?
Okay.
Heather?
Chop down trees? We hope not. Usually, you can put the sidewalk back around the tree, depending upon how large the tree is. Now, if the tree is a real problem, we probably have to take it down. But trees are very, very important. At features in Harper Woods, that's what we're known for. So we would like to minimize any cutting down of trees.
I know that we received kind of the notes that you used when you were giving your report to the city manager. And there was one thing I noticed on that I want to ask about, and that's the Citizen Lab. I know it became another name.
Go Vocal.
And that our contract with that vendor is ending at the end of this month.
Correct.
Do we know what we're moving to in a new platform, or do we have any ideas yet what we're going to do with that?
I can answer that, Councilmember Sawicki. More than likely, we are going to move with the update on the existing platform. A lot of, I want to say, this technology and software, it's embedded with our website. Our website is going through a redesign at this moment. It's just that elections and other things have taken priority. But we're going to stick with what we have. We looked at the functionality, and we're not going to look to duplicate functionality in the software.
I know that it's now called Go Vocal. I was told that residents were having a difficult time using this in order to give feedback for the pocket park.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it was active, if there was an issue with that. Do we know yet what happened?
We do not know what's happening with that, and you're right, it is difficult to get to the survey, but the survey has been active since, I think, like beginning of, the end of July. Whenever we had that meeting, like the week later, we put up the survey. Then we had to update it again, and it's been up since, but no one has filled out the survey on the website. They have sent us back the ones that we dropped off on the doors, on door knockers.
One of the things that we have to notice is that whenever we have an instrument like that software, we have to use it again and again until the public is really used to interacting with it. So we've had very few opportunities for that to happen. The Pocket Park is probably the best opportunity, and we'll just stick to it and until we get the kind of response we need.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. This, I know you're going to talk about it in September.
Put things in perspective, MEDC started the program. There were some planners who wanted to make sure that the cities that were going to be getting money from MEDC were redevelopment ready. They were going to be user-friendly so that we could attract developers. And that has to do with updating our website, doing a number of things that makes us a user-friendly city as far as developers are concerned. So at the end of the rainbow, the strategic fund would be open to our access so that we can do large projects.
Ms. Williams?
I just said two things for you, two questions. With the pocket parks on for Roscommon, because I received a little survey, also, you know, the door knockers, I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I saw in your report that it said a lot of people didn't want it to be just a park for women and children, which I agree with. To me, it shouldn't be. It should be just for, you know, everybody to relax. You said like a butterfly.
Yeah, it's just called the Butterfly Park. It's just like wildflowers, things that will attract nature, like butterflies and hummingbirds, and it's whatever you plant in it.
Okay.
Well, we like to have various seating areas in the park so that you could have as many as maybe 4 or 5 groups in the park in their own area at one time. So it'll be like conversation pits surrounded by beautiful flowers, and those are going to have to be, of course, perennials, not annuals. Annuals can be a little expensive, but to the extent we can get some color in the park using perennials, we will do so.
And my second question was about the sidewalk repair. Because because I saw on the map, and you also mentioned a little bit more about it, where on the map, all the gray areas, there was a little percentage thing. And I was trying to figure out what that percentage that identified which areas to use, what that percentage thing was based off of.
Well, it was the blue shaded areas that are the eligible areas. And the incomes in those areas are at least at 80% of area median income and below. That's the ceiling is 80%. That's called moderate income. Low income, of course, is down at 50%, 35% of area median income.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Do you have any more of the surveys for Ross Common?
No, but I can print them off if you'd like me to get you
Yeah,
some
my
more.
daughter just purchased a house on that same block, and she didn't receive a survey,
All right.
Okay,
but she's interested in filling it out.
okay. She can do it online.
There was a problem with it. I think we already tried that.
Okay. No worries, I'll send you one.
Any other further questions of economic development?
All right. Is that it?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, now I need approval of the minutes. I need a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the motion to accept, receive, and file the regular city council meeting held July 8th, 2024. To receive and file the election commission meeting held July 12th, 2024. To receive and file the Board of Review meeting July 16th, 2024. Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting July 22nd, 2024. And to receive and file the Planning Commission meeting minutes from July 24th, 2024.
For discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, this takes us to public comment on agenda items. Only on the agenda items, you have a moment to speak if you have something to say about what's on the agenda. Seeing none, I need a resolution for the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
make the resolution to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 18.
Support. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor? Just a couple really quick questions that I noticed from the check register. On our check register page 1, which is our page 38, there's a reference that Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick make to Mr. C Car Wash. And I was just curious what was going on with Mr. C's car wash.
We had a motorist hit the guardrail
Okay.
and it needed to be reviewed by the city engineers and replaced.
Okay, so that's nothing with the actual car wash, okay. And the second is on the next page, and this is probably because it ran off the page, but it's the very first entry from Synergy Products. It says 2 emergency vehicle equipment installed, and the date that's given for approval is September 18th. And so I didn't, and then it bled off the page. So I wasn't certain what the approval
Maria?
was.
It is 23. Those are the police cars that were
Put on hold or whatever.
Well, I'm back.
Okay, all right, thank you. I knew that there had to be some reason, so, okay, thank you very much.
All right, is there any further?
I have a question. I want to ask about lawn cutting. Do we only use New Appearance and Mulligan lawn cutting? And how long have they been cutting lawns for the city of Harper Woods?
Ooh, long time. Heather, would you like to make a comment on that, please?
Well, she's walking good.
Thank you. I'm making progress. Yes, Councilperson Pratt, we have 2 contractors, Vyra Mulligan and New Appearance. I've been with the city for 20 years, and they have been contractors for as long as I've been here.
What do they cut?
They cut, Mulligan cuts all of the cul-de-sac areas, the dead-end streets that have those little courtyard pieces in the middle. New Appearance pretty much cuts everything else.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yes, Madam
Ms. Mayor.
Mayor. I just had a question about the number 18, approval of purchase SRT vehicle. So what was that about? I see that say that it costs.
Jason's coming
Chief.
to the mic.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, the SRT, the Grosse Pointe Chiefs and I got together. The current vehicle that they're using is a 1989, like an old bread truck, and it's beyond the point of repair. So they kind of use that vehicle as more of a transport to a scene, an incident, and then they also use that as a command center. So we got together, figured 60 grand. We can find something gently used, an old UPS truck, FedEx truck. So that's what that's being used for.
So that's our contribution.
That's our contribution, yes.
Okay.
Us and the 5 Grosse Pointes are each contributing 10,000.
Are there any further discussion? Okay. Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay. So we have no old business, and this takes us to new business, city manager's report.
Okay, item G1, 2023 audit presentation. Mayor and council, representatives from Plant Moran will be in attendance to present the 2023 audit report. The audit report and related materials have been provided to you under separate cover. It is recommended that these be received and filed.
Good evening.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. My name is Ali Hijazi. I'm a partner with Plant Moran, and with me here is Jake Janes. He's the manager on the audit of the City of Harper Woods, and we're pleased to be here this evening to present the audit results for the audit of the City of Harper Woods financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2023. As Acting City Manager Szymanski mentioned, the deliverables are included in your packet. They include the financial statements as well as our end of audit letter. And in lieu of walking through the 60 or 70 page financial statement page by page, we summarized the highlights from the financial statements into a slide presentation that Jake will walk through here momentarily. I do have the pleasure of reporting the opinion on the financial statements, which is what the city hires us to provide, is what we refer to as an unmodified or clean opinion on the financial statements. It's the highest level of assurance that we can render on a set of financial statements. It means that the numbers and the footnote disclosures in those statements are presented in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So before I turn it over to Jake to walk through the slide presentation, did want to take a moment to thank Acting City Manager Szymanski, Maria, Kim, all the members of the finance team, as well as all the department heads at the City of Harper Woods. A lot of work goes in on both sides into this process. It commences shortly after year end. You know, we're on site for several weeks in the spring, and your team is incredibly gracious with hosting our team and cooperative in answering our questions on top of their day-to-day responsibilities. So we really appreciate the relationship we have with the City of Harper Woods, and then we would like to thank Mayor and Council for your support as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jake, but happy to take any questions as we proceed through the materials.
Okay.
Thank you, Ali, and hello, everyone. So I'm going to run through a handful of brief slides that just kind of cover some financial highlights, results from the December 31st, 2023 financial statement audit. So the first slide here presents the city's general funds, revenues, expenditures, and unassigned fund balances for the last 3 fiscal years. So that's the years ending December 31st, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And the most notable columns in this graph here are the orange and blue columns, which represent revenues, orange, and expenditures, blue. So just at a glance, you can see that both revenues and expenditures have trended upward over time. And there was a very significant increase in both amounts from 2022 to 2023. So I want to explain what that is. During 2023, the city received the Protecting Michigan Pension Grant, which basically is accounted for as both a grant revenue and a contribution expenditure simultaneously. So that was an $8.8 million grant received by the general fund and then funded directly to the pension liability. That's recorded as both a revenue and an expenditure. So both amounts for 2023 are, I'll say in air quotes, inflated due to this one-time receipt of approximately $9 million in grant funding. If you were to exclude those two amounts from both revenues and expenditures, you would see that revenues and expenditures were very consistent with previous periods, right around the $14 million mark. So really that's the cause for the big bump you're seeing in the current fiscal year. This next slide here shows a pie chart breaking down the general fund's revenue by type for the year ended December 31st, 2023. So there are really two primary sources of revenue for 2023. The first being property taxes, which made up about $9.9 million of revenue for the general fund, and the second being intergovernmental revenue sources. So this is things like federal grants, state shared revenue. So and that was about $11.3 million. And combined, they made up about 93% of the general fund's revenue overall. It's important to note that that intergovernmental piece of the pie right there, that does include the $8.8 million pension grant that I just referenced. So if you were to take that out, the intergovernmental sources beyond that are about $2.6 million. And if you were to do that, the property taxes would really be about 70% of overall spending if you were to exclude that grant entirely. So that does have a very significant skewing effect on these results because it was such a large one-time payment recorded as intergovernmental revenue. The next slide here is expenditures for the general fund for the year ended December 31st, 2023, and again broken down by category. So really here as well, there are two primary expenditure types. The first being employee and retiree fringe benefits, mostly healthcare, and the second being public safety costs. So again here, the pension grant is affecting these results. So about $4 million of that grant is accounted for as employee and retiree fringe benefits, and $4 million recorded as public safety. With the grant included, those two costs make up about 85% of total general fund expenditures, and with the grant excluded, about 75%, so about 3/4. The next slide is the general fund's fund balance for the previous 3 fiscal years. So again, that's December 31st, 21, 22, and 23. And fund balance is essentially your equity in the general fund, or in other words, your assets minus your liabilities. So at a glance, you can see that the fund balance has increased over the previous 3 fiscal years, and it's really comprised of 2 different components. The first is non-spendable fund balance. So these are things like inventory, say rock salt, for example, that does represent an asset to the city, but cannot be used to pay costs. So that's only about $157,000 of the total, where everything else is about $3.7 million, and that's your unassigned fund balance. That unassigned fund balance can kind of be thought of as your emergency fund to be used to pay costs that arise for a slew of factors. So really, if say you have some kind of natural disaster that results in a capital project that requires emergency, this is probably the likely source of funding to pay for such a cost. So that has increased over time. And to put that amount into perspective, $3.7 million in unassigned fund balance is about 27% of your expenditures for the general fund. So about 1/4 of the costs you could expect to incur throughout the year is where that fund balance landed at the end of 2023. This next slide, we'll shift gears a little bit to the water and sewer fund. And this chart represents the net position of that fund for the previous 3 fiscal years. So net position functions the exact same way as fund balance. It's essentially your equity in the fund or your assets minus liabilities. So net position in this fund is comprised of 2 different pieces. The first is your investment in capital assets, net of any debt taken to pay for those costs. And the second is essentially everything else. So what this slide shows is that the city has continued to invest in water and sewer infrastructure and has incurred costs beyond that to pay for normal operations. And the last slide I wanted to cover really fast is a overview of the city's net pension and OPEB liabilities for the last 2 fiscal years. So as of December 31st, 2023, the city's net pension liability, which is essentially the assets held to pay for the pension minus the liabilities that are expected to be incurred over its life, was about $34 million. What that means is that there is expected to be an outflow of about $34 million for the pension beyond what assets are currently held to pay for it. A similar idea for the OPEB liability. You see a decrease from 20 million last year to about 14 million in 2023. So it's important to remember that these liabilities are both very scientific estimates performed by actuaries. They do change over time and are subject to fluctuation because they rely on estimates and assumptions such as how inflation will look in future years, how investments will return, what the average life expectancy will be. So you will see swings in this in these balances as time goes on and those assumptions and estimates are updated to reflect more current data. Overall, you can see that the total liability went from about 51 million last year to about 48 million in 2023. And that is the trend we'd expect over time, given that retirees are paid, costs fall off. But again, that really is subject to fluctuation. So if there's some kind of event in the economy where inflation continues to spike, these costs will really be estimated upwards, which could create an increase in the amount that's expected to be paid over time. And that summarizes the highlights we wanted to cover today.
Happy to take any questions if there are any.
All right.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I do have a couple of questions, and I think I'm grateful that you were here to explain some of this, because I looked at the sheet that you have notes to required supplementary information, and it mentions $9,488,000 in significant expenditures in excess of the amount budgeted. And even though the note at the bottom of the page indicates that it's primarily due to pension benefits, and you explained that we received that money, so I assume that like 8,000 of that at least is due to that.
Right.
My concern is that this is a one-time influx of money. What's going to happen when we don't get this influx of money? How are we stable in our accounts? What do you see?
Yeah, I think that if you look over time, the city has continued to make progress on these liabilities, but I think it's going to continue to require diligence because, like you said, this is a one-time influx that doesn't resolve. You still have about $48 million between pension and OPEB that's unfunded, and so it's going to require diligence over time to continue to move in the right direction. And as Jake mentioned, you know, what has happened in the past as we see how actual results compare to our assumptions, that could put some upward pressure on that liability. So there are communities, not necessarily the city, but that have had, you know, assumptions about how long the population will live. People live longer, which is great, but the outcome of that is we're paying benefits longer, so our liability goes up. So you can't read too much into one or a couple years. You just have to continue to make your required contributions. If you have those one-time sources that can go towards paying that unfunded liability, that helps. And then you want to look at it over time, over 5 years, over 10 years. Are we going in the right direction? To see that, you know, you're continuing to make progress. You know, there are not really any communities that are at 100%, but you want to make sure that you have enough assets set aside and you're continuing to fund that liability to make sure that you can continue to pay the benefits that have been promised to the retirees.
But right now you're seeing it as fairly stable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, fairly stable, yep. No concerns from our end from that standpoint.
Councilman Williams.
Okay, I know that during your audit report, somewhere near the end, there's usually a list of possible deficiencies or things that you see or concerns that could be addressed with some recommendations. I was
Yes.
just wondering if you could just briefly talk about some of the major ones that you might have seen that
Sure.
could have been concerns.
Yes, we do look at internal controls. We had 2 items in the end of audit letter that were reported. One relates to audit identified journal entries. So what that means is we come in at the end of the year and we say if there's any journal entries that are necessary to get the financial statements to be recorded in accordance with the requirements, if we propose those, then we're required to put that in the letter. That's a very common item because for those types of accounting entries that are made once a year, it's very common for us to come in at the end of the year and help with that, and we just are required to report that as a deficiency. The other item relates to segregation of duties. You have a small but mighty team that wears a lot of hats, and a lot of times what that means is that you might have certain people that have multiple duties that technically are incompatible with one another. And so when you have that situation, for example, somebody can both propose and approve a journal entry in the system. We're again required to report that as a possible segregation of duties issue. So both of those items would be the deficiencies that we noted in this year's audit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any further discussion? All right, thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So I need a motion.
Make a motion. I'll make a motion to receive and file the 2023 audit financial report as submitted by the city auditors, Plant & Moran, and also receive and file their management report.
Support.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item G2, senior millage proposal, revised ballot language. Mayor and council, at your last meeting, you approved ballot language for the .35 mill levy that will be dispersed to the Helm to support services to our seniors. We made 2 adjustments to the language. One to the reference of the total amount of collection, and the second to include when the period of collection begins. I have attached the updated ballot language for your review and adoption. It is my recommendation that the updated language be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Make the resolution to place the following ballot language on the November 5th, 2024 general election ballot, requesting voter approval for an additional .35 mill levy in support of the Grosse Pointe Active Adult Commission, supporting services to older citizens. The language is, do you approve of the addition of a new .35 mill levy, that's that's 35 cents per 1,000 of taxable value for the period of 6 years, beginning with the taxable year 2025, to collect approximately $93,000 in revenue in the first year to be dispersed to the Grosse Pointe Active Adult Commission for the purpose of supporting services to older citizens, including transportation, activities, and facilities directed towards the improvement of the overall health and welfare of older persons.
Support. Anyone? Oh, Cheryl. Yeah. I didn't hear you, Cheryl. I'm sorry. All right.
Now pull the microphone closer.
Okay, so is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor? I'm curious because I know that we have adjusted the language for our ballot. Does this same language have to be reflected across the Grosse Pointes as well? And will it be in time for the November ballot?
Okay, all the Grosse Pointes have various detail in their ballot language, but essentially it says the same thing. The millage rate is the same. Those discrepancies that may occur in the ballot language is covered in the interlocal governmental agreement between Harper Woods and Grosse Pointes.
But all of the communities have the same amount in terms of the millage?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item number G3, first right of refusal, tax foreclosed properties. Mayor and Council attaches a memorandum from our Economic and Community Development Director detailing the Wayne County 2024 First Right of Refusal 2024 Tax Foreclosed Home Program. The practice of acquiring the properties by the city has been encouraged by the Wayne County Treasurer's Office as a means of renovating tax foreclosed homes, selling them to home buyers, and placing the properties back on the tax rolls once again. We have 2 investors that have expressed interest in purchasing these properties. The properties will sell for the back tax amounts plus any outstanding water payments or other outstanding invoices for miscellaneous city services that were billed to the property. The purchasers and the total cost of the property are as follows. Willie Donald Santorio Incorporated, 18671 Huntington, 23,211.41. 19685 Washtenaw, $11,659.36. Richard Inger, Binger Investments LLC, 2,219 Hunt Club, 69,302.93, and 18997 Elkhart, 23,737.49. I have reviewed this and it is recommended that the sales be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam
Mm-hmm.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to authorize the city manager to sell the tax foreclosed properties at a price of $127,911.19 to the interested buyers as outlined, including all money owed to the city, and further to authorize the acting city manager and mayor to sign all necessary documents to complete the transactions.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
One thing I was glad to hear about when I was reading through this, that these homes that are being sold will be for sale, not rentals. So
Right.
I was really glad to hear that that was specified.
The 3 properties that we sold last year were all, it's only one is still being rehabbed, and it was really a gutted property. They probably should have tore it down, but anyway, they're rehabbing it. But the other properties were sold. So it's not renters,
Right.
they're homeowners. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really satisfied with the way that we do this. We just keep giving it to the same old people who do the renovations, and we don't really give anybody else a new chance. We don't put it out for bid or anything like that. And I'm wondering if we could look at what other communities are doing and get some ideas and, you know, do something more with this than just lining the pockets of the same people over and over again.
These folks have a track record with the city. Our greatest fear is that we would get stuck with these properties and we would be responsible for selling them. I can tell you firsthand, we would do a horrible job at managing real estate and selling property. So, like I said, they have a proven track record. Ty, you may want to have a few words on this as well.
I think, as you may recall, a few years ago, we did buy 5 properties. And there's no way we have the wherewithal to manage those properties and to go through the entire process of getting them fixed up, etc., and then trying to get homeowners to buy it. Of what Wayne County Treasurer has done over the years was to permit the city government to partner with people who are interested in buying the properties, fixing them up, and after a while, you know who is who's going to do a good job, who's not going to do a good job. So that's our approach has been, if we're going to do this, we're going to be doing business with professionals who know that we want homeowners, not just other renters, another renter in the neighborhood. And so far, for the last 2 years, that's been pretty successful. But running a program like that is something that right now is beyond our financial means, first of all, and getting that organizing and maintaining it would be quite a chore.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I noticed that in addition to the 4 properties that we're selling, there are 4 others that appeared on the original list. I understand 2 of them are empty lots, but the other 2 properties that are on that, we're not purchasing those, are we? Or how does that operate?
No, we're only purchasing, we're just a pass-through. We're only purchasing the properties where 2 developers have shown interest. And I work with them to make sure that they follow through on their promise. But the rest of the properties, they go to the auction, and whoever wants to deal with them at the auction, and that's what they do. We're just a pass-through, strictly a pass-through.
If any of those properties are not, sold by the county, does that revert back to us? I mean, I know that we have the Roscommon Pocket Park area that is, empty.
Right.
And I'm wondering if these other areas would revert back to the city.
Well, first of all, we're only dealing with the properties that someone has shown an interest in. And so far, the 2 individuals who have stepped up have kept their promise. And that's why, and we welcome whomever to step up and do the same thing. We could sell other properties, but these are the 2 consistent ones who have kept their promise. One of the things, just speaking of the Pocket Park, the gentleman who is buying 2 of the properties fixed up the house across from the Pocket Park, right there on the corner. So his is an example of what can happen, and it's a homeowner who's living there. Now you have a property like the Pocket Park, Roscommon Pocket Park, and you could put a very, very nice home on that. This is not something, however, that the city wants to be in the business of developing individual properties, because that really becomes a strain.
Right, no, I
Right.
Thank you.
Yes.
So there are some properties that are still going to the auction.
Right.
Yeah, we've had a big problem with that in the past, where maybe they were bought by someone from China and hired a real shady property management company or what have you, and didn't actually make the repairs.
Well, our policy has been not to try to profiteer. Now, we could in the future, but our whole point is just to be a pass-through. That's the only reason we're doing it.
I mean, I buy and fix up and sell and rent out properties all the time. Obviously, you don't want these to be rented out, but I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but I guess I've been doing it a long time. So I know on one hand, I feel like these same people over and over are making money off of our properties, but on the other hand, that's better than the alternative to have someone out of the country buying the houses and leaving them dilapidated. So I guess that's a better choice than what the other option is, but I still wouldn't mind if we would do some research and see what other cities are doing.
Yeah. Well, I with the permission of the city manager, would be very happy to talk to you about the approach that you'd like to see us take, etc. Is that it?
All right. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman LaPrat?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki?
Yes.
Councilman Tucson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Kindle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino?
Yes.
Councilman Jenny?
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G4, approval of contract modification number 1, pavement, joint, and crack sealing number 180-341. Mayor and council, attached is a contract modification to the city's joint and crack sealing project in the amount of $7,751.70. Due to the nature of the repair on Helen Court, the traditional joint and crack sealing compound sealant could not be used to guarantee a successful repair. A new process was introduced using a compound of mastic sealant, which is a construction material made up of synthetic rubber-based material and is used for filling in gaps where movement may occur more than normal. This process effectively ties together concrete street sections that may have moved or shifted and seals out water from getting beneath the concrete surface and eroding the cement. I have reviewed this and it is my recommendation that this be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
by resolution to approve the contract modification number 1 on the 2024 pavement joint and crack sealing project number 180-341 in the amount of $7,751.70.
Support.
Discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Frank.
Councilwoman Sawicki?
Yes.
Councilman Tucson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Kindle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino?
Yes.
Councilman Jenny?
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G5, progress payment number 1, sanitary sewer cleaning and CCTV investigation number 180-340. Mayor and council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 1 on the 2024 sanitary sewer cleaning and CCTV investigation number 180-340. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
by resolution, approve payment to Duke's Root Control in the amount of $30,595.62 for progress payment number 1 of the 2024 sanitary sewer cleaning and CCTV investigation number 180-340.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Real quick question. I noticed that Duke's Root Control, which is not a familiar vendor to me, but they seem to have a very, I'm just kind of curious, they're far away. Their corporate address or the address for this, I think, is in Indiana. So I'm curious as to whether this company is sending out people from that location to come all the way here to Harper Woods, and why we're not using something more local.
Heather?
Duke's Root Control purchased Pipe Tech. Pipe Tech has been the company that we've used for the past 4 or 5 years. We have used Duke Root Control for other smaller jobs in the city, but they purchased our main contractor. So that's
So
why
they're
their
really-
main corporate address is out of state.
Same
It's just
people.
corporate. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sound like GFL. All right, any further discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Frank.
Councilman Tucson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Kindle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino?
Yes.
Councilman Jenny?
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G6, progress payment number 1, sanitary sewer rehabilitation by FCIPP number 180-339. Mayor and council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 1 on the 2024 sanitary sewer rehabilitation by FCIPP number 180-339 It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor? Resolution to approve a payment to Instituform Technologies USA LLC in the amount of $85,608.40 for progress payment number 1 on the 2024 sanitary sewer rehabilitation by FCIPP number 180-339.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jennings.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G7, progress payment number 1, pavement, joint, and crack sealing number 180-341. Mayor and Council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 1 on the 2024 pavement, joint, and crack sealing program number 180-341. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve payment to Michigan Joint Sealing in the amount of $53,874.25 for progress payment number 1 on the 2024 pavement, joint, and crack sealing program number 180-341.
Support.
Discussion.
Madam Mayor?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I assume, because the other one was specifically for one street,
Right.
that this pavement joint crack sealing is throughout the community.
Yes, and a good chunk of it at Salter Park. If anybody has gone in there lately, they can see how great the parking lot looks.
All right.
Mayor?
Any, yes?
Question here, now this is say progress payment number 1. How many more do you think there'll be?
They're about 76% completed, so 2, yeah.
2? Okay.
Yeah, I'd say.
All right.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jennings.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G8, TAP grant, sidewalk modernization project. Mayor and Council, the city has received a conditional commitment for funding assistance in the amount of $170,100 from MDOT to repair sidewalks heaved by tree roots throughout the city. Draft plans have been sent to MDOT for review, comment, and ultimate approval. Grant funding would be obligated once final bid documents have been approved by MDOT and the City Council approves the attached resolution to match the funding required on this project in the amount of $42,525. Construction will begin in the spring of 2025. It is my recommendation that this grant be accepted and the resolution adopted. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
By resolution to accept the Transportation Alternatives Program TAP grant from MDOT in the amount of $170,100 and further to adopt the attached resolution to commit funds for the sidewalk modernization project with the city's local match of $42,525 and further to authorize the acting city manager to act as the designated representative for this project.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jennings.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay,
Excuse me.
item G9, Community Development Block Grant Sidewalk Repairs. Mayor and Council, as a final step to Wayne County's approval of the city's sidewalk repair project request is the city's acceptance of the funds, which will be used for the first phase of the city's sidewalk improvement program. The attached blanket purchase order outlines the amount that has been awarded to us for this project. Work will begin sometime this fall and end in the spring, summer of 2025. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to accept the funds as appropriated from Wayne County as part of the Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $289,630 for the city sidewalk improvement project.
Support.
Discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Just a little clarification here. I sort of understood at one time that the sidewalk was the residents' responsibility, but now we're taking on as the city to repair or to respond. How does that?
It's a grant.
It's a grant. We're going to use it to repair, I want to say, broken sidewalks.
Yeah. So if I have a resident has a broken sidewalk, they want
Well,
repaired.
we're going to have engineers review, which sidewalks are bad, which sidewalks are good. Certainly, if a resident wants to have a sidewalk repaired, I'm sure there can be an arrangement made, with the contractor. But right now, this is a blanket purchase order for sidewalk repairs. So we're going to get the worst ones.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor?
Just for certain parts of the city.
I thought when Mr. Hinton was describing this to us, that the area is dependent, it's income dependent. And so I'm assuming that this block grant will be going toward income dependent residents who might need assistance.
It'll be going into the area that's defined.
Right.
And we're going to get the biggest bang for our buck.
Will we be asking for more money in the future to
No.
do the rest of the city?
There's going to be several phases to the
that's
sidewalk
great.
program this year, next year, and possibly the year afterwards. And there's going to be significant chunks of sidewalk, I want to say, replaced throughout the city. We're getting it in quadrants and in sections, any way that we can. This is the biggest city sidewalk build out in the last 25 years here.
So I have one other
No,
question, and this has to do with the idea of, I remember when we did this the last time, and we went through the city and identified blocks that needed to be replaced. And at that time, residents were given a letter that said, from now on, it's your responsibility. I know, because I have a corner of property and I had, several blocks that needed to be replaced, that the city put certain amount toward, reducing the burden on homeowners. So we paid a portion of it, the city paid a portion of it. I thought that's the way it worked last time. That's not gonna happen this time?
We're not going to charge anybody for sidewalks.
Well, I want to point out a few blocks on my property.
But you're not in the low
But it's
income
based
neighborhood.
on income.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 distinct phases. There's going to be the CDBG, the TAP grant, and then the city's contribution. So it's all going to be a build out in phases.
It's 2 different grants. Is there any further discussion?
It'd be nice if we get the whole thing. I was just saying it'll be nice if we could get the whole city safe to walk.
That's
We'll get there.
John's goal.
Yeah, that'd be great.
When you eat an elephant, you do it one bite at a time.
Sure would be nice to have Williamsburg Court safe to walk.
Alrighty then. Okay. Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G10, sidewalk easement, Eastland Commerce Center. Mayor and council, this is a unique situation which has caused some internal confusion for our city and with MDOT. Although MDOT was able to accept the easement donations for the new traffic signal locations along Vernier, they could not accept the sidewalk donation. After much investigating, we finally located a city form that, for the sum of $1, conveys the sidewalk easement to the city from Eastland Commerce Center. The new section of sidewalk in question is just outside the right-of-way along the easterly driveway to the Eastland Commerce Center with a footage of approximately 268 feet. The remainder of the sidewalk in front of the Eastland complex with Jimmy Jazz and They Say is within the existing Vernier right-of-way. The new sidewalks have to be located outside of the existing right-of-way to accommodate the new turn lanes. It is my recommendation that we accept this sidewalk easement donation. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Make the resolution to accept the sidewalk easement donation from Eastland Commerce Center in the amount of $1 as described on attached Exhibit A.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Mm-hmm.
I need to better understand where this sidewalk would be going in. If I read this correctly, we'd have the Eastland Center, the sidewalk, lanes, whatever, traffic, and it's between the Eastland Center and Lowe's?
It's between, yes.
Beaconsfield.
Right now, that's private property.
Right.
Yeah.
They could build a fence there, they could build a toll booth if they wanted to. Doesn't serve anybody any good. It's right at the turnaround, and because of the special cut that allows traffic to go into the Eastland Commerce Center, that had to be a public domain, so we are going to get the sidewalk. They will be responsible for it, same way residents are responsible for cleaning their sidewalks and maintaining their sidewalks.
Now, is this sidewalk raised in any way for safety? Is it just flat along with,
Regular walking sidewalk,
and it's right next to where the truck lane is?
it's between, it's the sidewalk that's between the turnaround to get into the Eastland Commerce Center.
Right.
The sidewalks that are beyond that are private property for the Eastland Commerce Center.
So this sidewalk would go,
Down Veneer.
Yeah,
oh, down Veneer?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I thought it was between the Eastland Commerce Center and Lowe's.
No, it's the public sidewalk that
But
people can take their
didn't
bikes.
ever exist before.
It never existed before.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I
Here's
didn't
a
realize-
picture of it.
There's a map.
You want to see?
Right, but I didn't,
Yeah.
I know I see this.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G11, progress payment, Beaconsfield resurfacing project. Mayor and council, attached is a memorandum from the Director of Public Works transmitting an invoice from the Michigan Department of Transportation for the city's portion of the Beaconsfield resurfacing project Phase 2. As you recall, this MDOT project required a match from the city, and this invoice represents a portion of that cost. I have reviewed this and recommend that this invoice be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve the payment to Michigan Department of Transportation in the amount of $20,141.63 for the city's proportionate share of the Beaconsfield resurfacing project Phase 2.
Support.
Any discussion?
How,
Yeah.
how many additional payments are we expecting?
It all depends on what gets screened by MDOT and what
Right.
comes to us, and we have to verify the charges.
Are we done with the project though?
We're done with the project. These are all the after costs.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G12, Milk River operation and maintenance. Mayor and council, Attached is an invoice from Wayne County for operation and maintenance of the Milk River Drain for the period of July through September 2021. An invoice found to have not been paid previously, and also for the period July through September 2024. This is in accordance with the budgeted amount set by the Drainage District. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Oh, God. I'll make a resolution to approve payment to Wayne County in the amount of $327,133.50 for the outstanding invoice for the operation of the maintenance of the Milk River Drain for the period of July through September of 2021, and $356,018 for the period July through September of 2024, for a total of $683,151.50.
Support.
Discussion?
Madam Mayor? Just how do we not find this?
We knew that there was a payment not made. Wayne County never billed us, and we could never bring anything like this to the council without an invoice, especially for $350,000.
No, I understand that. So they found it for us.
They found it. Yes, they eventually. This is called working from home.
Yeah.
Too much time on their hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Madam
Fire
Mayor,
that person.
Yes.
they didn't charge us any kind of additional.
No, this is their mistake, not ours.
Pay it slowly then.
Madam Mayor, this just kills me every time we have to pay these huge amounts. There's so many other things we could do with this money. But if we don't do it, the whole city will be underwater, literally. It's terrible, but it's not a choice we can make.
All right, roll call vote, Ms. Frank.
Councilwoman LaPratte?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki?
Yes.
Councilman Tucson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Kindle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino?
Yes.
Councilman Jenny?
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G13, Michigan Municipal League designation of voting delegates. Mayor and Council, the Michigan Municipal League has announced their annual convention to be held on Mackinac Island September 11th through 13th, 2024, and it is customary for the City Council to authorize attendance by interested members. Also, it is customary to designate one of our officials as a representative to cast votes on the city's behalf for trustees, policies, and other business matters, and that the mayor be the designee and the mayor pro tem be the alternate. If there are any of you who wish to attend, please let the clerk's office know as soon as possible so that we can register you. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
by resolution authorize those council members interested to attend the Michigan Municipal League's annual convention September 11th through the 13th, 2024, with the city paying all necessary and related expenses, and further to designate Mayor Kendall as the city's official delegate and Mayor Pro Tem Williams as the alternate delegate during the MML annual meeting to be held during the convention.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I do have to say something. I hope the Michigan Municipal League can find a location that's not as expensive. The cost of Mackinac Island has skyrocketed, and quite frankly, I find it very difficult to justify sending council members to this particular function. I know that their spring conference, which is usually in Lansing, offers a great deal of interesting, updates and materials. This, at least from what I've seen, as far as what they're offering at this particular event, I can certainly see needing to send a voting representative, but I think of it more of a party than a conference of value. So I'm just going to put it out there that Mackinac Island has become ridiculously overpriced. So
Well, just to even bring it up, as a board of trustee for MML, we have voiced the same questions because it's very expensive. And we want to get as municipalities, which are small, medium, we need to get the bang for our bucks, and Mackinac Island is certainly not the place. But we have no say-so right now because it was already done. But for the future, Mackinac Island will not be a conference place for MML in the future.
Yeah. There are a lot of nice places in Michigan.
Yeah,
That's gotten crazy.
And unfortunately, there are certain things, there's certain businesses that has to take place at this conference, and it's just like Councilwoman Williams will be getting her certificate and degree for classes and things that she did through the year, and they have certain things there that we have to do. So as a board of trustee, we've already taken this to the CEO because it's not. We have quite a few people that are not coming.
Well, when you're paying $600 just to attend, and then the cost of the hotel on top of it.
Yeah. We hear you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I know in the past we've had council members who would go and wouldn't attend the meetings, but I found if you attend all the meetings, it's very valuable and there's a lot to gain from it. We just need to make sure that the people who are going are not goofing off, that they actually show up to everything and get the residents' money's worth, because there is a lot of valuable information.
But quite frankly, each time we've attended a convention, have you noticed any of our members goofing off?
No, the current members have been doing a pretty good job. Right, I'm talking about past members, the members we have presently show up.
Okay.
But we have in the past had someone who would...
Well, we can't go backwards because none of us are there.
Who was golfing instead of going to meetings, but not currently.
Thank you. I think I've seen everybody at meetings, and no people necessarily goofing off in the hallways and stuff. So, anyway, okay, any further discussion? What is this? A roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratt.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay.
Okay, item G14, letter of support, Wayne County History Project. Mayor and Council, Wayne County has reached out regarding a partnership project being developed by the Detroit Historical Society. This project will feature a temporary exhibit over the next 2 years in the Guardian Building that will entail a historic graphic for all 43 cities and townships that make up Wayne County, including Harper Woods. This project will be fully funded. No funds are required from Harper Woods. When the exhibit ends, the historic graphics will be returned to the city. All that is needed tonight is an affirmative vote by the City Council, and we will notify the county of our support. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor, make the motion to offer the City of Harper Woods support of the Detroit Historical Society's History Project, and further that no funds will be required for this endeavor.
Support.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank. Oh, it's a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item G15, schedule public hearing for September 4th, 2024, land vacation request. Mayor and Council, we have received a request from Renovar Robson Harper Woods LLC to vacate a portion of Lennon Street at the eastern end where the cul-de-sac is currently. This request is in conjunction with their new development at the former Popard site. The Planning Commission will review their request at their August 28, 2024 meeting, and a public hearing is required along with final approval of City Council. Therefore, I am requesting that a public hearing be scheduled at your September 4, 2024 meeting for this purpose. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor. I'll offer the motion to schedule a public hearing at the September 4th, 2024 City Council meeting to hear public comment and input on a request from Renovar Robertson Harper Woods LLC to vacate a portion of Lennon Street.
Support.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes. Is this, so this is that area where the cul-de-sac is, where we want to put in a pocket park? Is that correct? Or
No,
it's
this is
not.
actually a street that's going to connect, I want to say, Lennon and Van Antwerp.
Okay.
And provide access inside the housing development.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes the city manager's report.
Whew, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Okay, call the audience, you have 3 minutes.
Actually, not that bad, you're right.
Identify yourself and let's get rolling.
Good evening, Sheila Hakeem. I live on Littlestone. I just wanted to touch on an email I sent everybody when I looked at the charter earlier today, which is apparently before the ordinances in Muni Code. And I'm not going to read the whole email, but I'm going to touch on a couple paragraphs. The City of Harper Woods Charter has been published and appears just before the city's ordinances. However, it's not complete, it's riddled with errors, and language has been illegally revised. And for this reason, it should be removed. I attached a red line. You can see what changes were made to the version from 1970 that was updated in 1970. You'll see for yourself the changes. Among these things, the very first page, there's 3 errors. It says the editor's note should say as amended through 2023, not 2019. 2023, everybody approved language regarding the mayor pro tem. That language is in there, but the reference says to 2019. And then it goes on to refer to the charter as an ordinance. That's just on the first page. That's 3. And it's throughout the whole freaking document. Not only that, there's other amendments that are not there. And there's a new one that's not mentioned anywhere. I included the documentation for that. There should be a section 5.16I. I included the Harper Woods documentation, city clerk documentation to the state. These are all filed with the state as well. 2 copies go to Secretary of State's office and 2 go elsewhere, it says in my email. So the state has a copy of all the amendments, or they should have. They are missing some, and that creates other legal problems, or could, down the line. That is a legal question that might come up in the future. At any rate, the one that's online right now is not correct and shouldn't be there. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
You need to come to the microphone.
Good evening. I live on
We can hear you.
Williamsburg.
You have to speak
I
in
live
the
on
mic.
Williamsburg Court, and my name is Judy Hinton, and this is for everybody in the audience, more so the citizens than the council.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Well,
You gotta speak right into the microphone.
okay,
Speak up.
I am here to complain about. It seems like in my area, which is Williamsburg Court, I am the only one that's calling a code violation and the police. The only, and you know how I know I'm the only one? Because I asked code violation. Anybody else called? I ask the police, anybody else call. So my main complaint is about one of my neighbors. He had a boat sitting on Williamsburg Court for 3 days. Now, the few will always, you know, be there for the many. The many, since the beginning of the time, the many is not going to participate. They are not. I mean, the boat was there for 3 days, and the big boat taking up at least 6 parking spaces. So I finally called the police. It's like he thumbed his nose at the officers and left the boat there extra day. Okay? Then it's a commercial vehicle that my neighbor has had out there for 2 years, and they've ticketed and ticketed and ticketed, and he's thumbing his nose at the police too. It's just bad. It's just bad. I can see Harper Woods just as a small 5-mile radius, and we have all of these problems. I want to bring up Kelly because my sister lives all the way on the west side of Detroit. She came to visit me, and she had to go up Kelly to, you know, to Maross. She told me, she says, what's going on in Harper Woods? Harper Woods used to be beautiful, especially at Kelly. She said all those business owners up there have hooper or hooker shops, and they all have grills outside. She said, it looks like an alley up there on Kelly. Yes, it does. And I went up there and I saw it too. So you know who's going to call code violation first thing tomorrow? And code violations do their job. I'm calling code violation on them. And these people with these, they have you know, those Ford cars, and they rev the motor and rev the motor. Called the police on my neighbor. 2 police came out, and he still does it. He just thumbs his nose at the police. So the police and code violation are really trying to do their job, but the citizens are not calling in, and I know that as a fact. So if you want something better, participate. I'm tired of being the only one. So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get a name?
Good evening, Tony Wagner, Washtenaw resident. I'll start by prefacing by saying I don't really know what the hell I'm talking about. There's 10 of you up there who know the subject matter 10 times as well as I do. But I listened to the presentation about the turning over the foreclosed or forfeited houses from Wayne County over to quality developers who will fix them up and sell them to, you know, new homeowners, which is a great goal, good project and all that. It just seems like the numbers seem awfully low, very modest. I would have guessed that the pool of properties being passed through to Harper Woods from the county on an annual basis would be a lot larger than to accommodate only 2 companies and 2 houses apiece. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like there'd be more of a market out there than I'm imagining. If I'm getting this right, we're basically giving those 2 companies the homes for free, as long as they pay the back taxes and water bills. They spend whatever it costs to renovate them, to bring them up to code and market appeal, sell them in what's a pretty hot, brisk market, and they make a profit off of it. I mean, maybe I'm completely naive, but it just seems like it'd be more than 4 houses in a year, even allowing for all the safeguards and procedures. So I guess I would just wonder is there a way it could be more aggressively implemented to get more companies involved and have those participating companies take on more than 2 Harper Woods houses per year? It just seems like, with what little I know, and I'm naive, it just seems like there's an opportunity that we're only going at in little tiny bits and nibbles. And how long does it take to really clean up a problem? I live on Washtenaw, so I see a fair number of vacant houses. It just seems like at this pace you're not really making great headway. I don't know what the answer is. That's just an observation from someone who's admittedly naive. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you all know who I am. First thing, I don't know if you all know what a water shutoff valve is. I think every house in the city has one on their front lawn. Well, mine doesn't work. I had 3 plumbing companies come out, and it's got to be fixed. And it's not my problem. That's your problem, because that was put in before I was born. Now, the second thing I want to ask you is, what is the city doing about all the street lights around here? When I was younger, they painted them twice a year. Then it turned out to once a year. Now they don't even do it. Now they look rusty and ragged. The next thing, and don't tell me this is a DTE problem, the telephone poles in this city, the one across the street from where I live is 30 years old. And there's so much stuff on this telephone pole, it's starting to sag. So that's your department. You're supposed to be out there looking at all these things and bringing this up, but you don't. Now, the next thing I want to know is what's going on with this fire department situation, because it's too big of a thing for you 10 people to vote on. If you want to change our fire department, this has to be put on the November ballot and let the people of this city vote on it. Let us vote on it, not you. You're nothings. We're the ones that you work for us. We don't work for you. Now, the next thing I want to know, his agenda, number 11, progress payment on Beaconsfield. What are you doing about it? It's falling apart. I told you last meeting, there's cracks going all across the whole damn thing. The whole thing, from one end to the other. So what the hell are you doing? I mean, I told you last time, any one of you go down and walk Beaconsfield? I bet not. Oh, you're too busy to do that. But you want to get paid and do this. This is starting to get monotonizing. You people should be doing your jobs. That's what you're up there for. You wanted to be there. Thank you.
Hi, Council. You know I'm Jacqueline. I live on the corner of Buffet and Dupree. I want to apologize firsthand about some aggressiveness, but I'll tell this council, I'm losing faith. The sidewalk that you were talking about over at Jazz, I walk that path all the time. That pond that is by the new construction of the warehouses is full of the duck turds. And there's no, as the manager said, there's no, it's private property, so we can't put a sidewalk there. And I'll tell you, Madam Mayor, my son is homeless, and for $11,000 for an empty lot of property, I can design and build that myself. So why don't the people of the city have the opportunity? Why don't the future generations have the opportunity for a $10,000 pickup or a $5,000 pickup or a $26,000 pickup? Because I can have you that money tomorrow and give 4 students an opportunity to own a home. This gentleman right here is taking my paradise and he's turning it into a parking lot. My neighborhood is so quiet. And speaking of quiet, please make sure, Madam Mayor, when your crews come over to do that property, that there is no loud noise before 9 a.m. I will be calling a code violation. I love my city. I love everybody. But it's getting harder and harder for everyone. They just want to be against each other. I want to have love around me. Please, council, stop this project. It is too much money. I don't know where it's coming from, and I know it's going to affect me. Please, I'm begging you. The kids are losing hope. My paradise, my quiet neighborhood, it's being destroyed. Doesn't anybody like trees anymore? Doesn't anybody like fresh food anymore? We need close groceries close. We need our community to bake bread together and love together again.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Shinburn. You all know I live on Ross Common, and sometimes I think you guys got blind eyes. First of all, I'll start off on a good one. Our church, work camp, 184 kids, 9 churches from 6 different states. We did 120 projects, 5,000 hours. Seniors. Seniors. When the city should be helping them, not a church. It's great that we do this. But we used to be able to get grants here to fix up our homes. Where's that coming from? He ain't getting them. Next thing is, you guys know what's going on here in Harper Woods as far as violence? It's getting ridiculous. In the last 5 weeks, we've had a road rage in Vegas. We've had CVS broken into. We've had a guy shot in back of the party store at the end of my corner. 3 weeks ago, they did a drive-by on the house next to me. 10 bullets in my truck. 10. Do you know what's going on here? The police are trying their best, and the damn judge doesn't back them. She's an idiot. She needs to be removed. The guy was being, this is the young man here. The reason I got this, it was peer pressure. He didn't even go to Harper Woods. He went to Utica Stevens. Peer pressure. 2 Sundays ago, I had to go into a house where this young man blew his brains out. Blew his brains out. You guys don't know what the hell's going on here in Harper Woods. You just sit there. I ask sometimes, do you know what's going on? It's down my end. I'm starting to see a lot of police in my end, which is great. And I commend them. And the 2 incidents, I commend them. 20 rounds shot. 5 of them in the house, 10 of them in my truck. My grandson's in therapy right now, especially because the kid that blew his brains out was one of his best friends. Mayor, since you've come here and become the mayor, we have had more violence in this city than ever before. And you need to be removed.
Thank you. Have a seat.
Oh, yeah?
Have a seat. Your time is up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't like your smirk. You can stick it where the sun don't shine.
You can too.
Chief,
That's going too far.
we need some
can
help
too.
here.
He needs some help. He needs to be removed.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. My name is DeMarcio Williams. I reside over on Woodcrest. Just newly elected as a precinct delegate, so coming to just pledge my commitment to the community that we can come together and create some positive change together. But today is International Youth Day. And I want to address one concern that I have. When I look across this room, I don't see anyone that represents my generation. That is concerning. And I believe that the council should do something about it. I'm willing to pledge my support, but I believe that we need to come together and find a way to engage our young people, whether it's through social media, whether it's through campaigns at the school. We have to come together and make sure that the young generation is civically engaged in our community. I'm a parent of Generation Z, a son and a daughter. I want them to stay in Harper Woods for lifetime. But they are going to be responsible for all the changes and all the things that we do in the future. We're not going to be here forever. And so we've got to make sure that we're engaging them in the process. So all I'm asking council is to consider some kind of youth advisory program, committee, getting engaged with the Harper Woods School District, Grosse Pointe School Districts, and making sure our students are not just going to school and going home, but they're getting engaged in community. It's important, and we need to do it. I am vowing my support as a precinct delegate, as just a neighbor, as a friend, to put in the work, sweat equity, but we've got to make it a priority. We care about our seniors, but we've also got to make sure we care about our young people. That's the whole community, and that's all I'm asking for. Thank you, Council.
Hello, my name is Teresa Foster. I live on Woodland. I'm here again asking Council about the safe built receivable accounts. I understand why you have closed sessions, but these bills do not meet the criteria of a closed session. Why can't we see the details of these bills? There are dates and amounts, but there isn't a check number or what it was written for. This has been happening since at least January of this year because I haven't looked back further throughout the years. This is what the form looks like online. Why can't we see the details of these bills? What are we paying for? These are public expenses. I also see that there is a code enforcement total. What codes are being violated? And are they being ticketed or just warnings? If they're tickets, are they being paid for or just waived? When this information is going to be provided, the council's common practices say, we're listening. If you are really listening, when are we going to find some of these answers out? Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak? The microphone is here. Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm Mark Van Pooker on Roscommon. First of all, Mr. Szymanski, how come you never return my calls?
You should try contacting the departments first.
Okay, I contacted the I don't want to tell you what my business is about, but I did with the department. Maybe 100 times called that department. Can't get the problem solved. So I want to call you, and you won't return my call. And I tried emailing all the council members. For some reason, it didn't go through. So I talked to Mrs. LaPratt about it on the city night out or whatever. It didn't go through. So I assume no one got the email. Fine. Okay. Fine. I understand. Maybe something wrong with my, whatever. But I'm looking at this calendar, nice calendar we get every year, and congratulations to the football team, first of all. I don't know if anyone said that in this room yet. I'm sure they did. But on one of the last pages, we got the phone number for the president, vice president, the senators, everybody, everybody except council people and Santa Claus. The only numbers I don't have. You got numbers for, everything here. And except for email, how do I get in, except for email and coming here, how do I get a hold of anybody? There's no address, no phone number. I can't go to the city there and leave a note. They won't take one on. It's ridiculous. Like I said, every number to everybody. And who wants to, address my issue at some point? Any one of you seven who wants to work with me on this, on that. I don't want to. No.
I don't know what your issue is.
Well, I don't need to discuss it. I don't have to in front of the whole city. It's not none of anyone's business. So, if someone would want to come forward and or someone want to explain how we can't get a hold of you unless you come here. Okay. All right, I'll call you and discuss it with you and see if I can get it solved. I'll come up there after the meeting to get it. Thank you. I'm looking at this here. The president came on February 1st, huh? Did this actually happen? why I'm asking is I'm looking at the photo and the president's head is like twice the size of everybody else's. Is this actual photo? Okay, were you two there?
I wasn't there, but he was in.
Were you there?
Yes.
And you actually saw him?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This, I mean, you saw the picture here. You want to see it?
No, I've seen it. I got
Okay, all right.
Show you more.
Okay. My next question is,
Your time's up. Your time's up. You have 3 minutes.
all right.
Come after the meeting is over with. Is there anyone else in the audience wish to speak? If not, city council? I don't remember which end I started with before.
You
So-
started with me last time.
Regina?
Good evening, everyone. I think I only really have one comment, which is about the charter committee that we used to have. And I don't know if we still have a new one or anything, but a few years ago, we did have a charter committee, and we were looking over things about the charter. And I was on the committee, my husband was on the committee, Ms. Hakeem was on the committee, and I think we were making some very positive strides towards changes with the charter. And I was just wondering if we're planning on having another committee start anytime, because there's still some things that we wasn't able to complete. That's it.
I have no answer for that right now.
I just want to say, I want to thank everybody for coming out to National Night Out. I know some of the council members were working the election that night, so they weren't there, but the weather, it poured rain, and I couldn't believe that it was going to happen, but it did happen. We had to move it a little bit, but thank Maria for painting everyone's face. The library was there, the NEDC. Thank you for coming out. The Family Center, all of our police officers, our firemen, and the band was fantastic. So weather was a little iffy, but I thought it was a pretty good turnout, and it was a nice evening. It would be nice if everybody in the whole community came next year. And on the 24th, we're having Blues in the Woods, like Irma said. So if you weren't there at National Night Out, how about come to this? Get to know your community, and don't yell at us too much. But come on out and enjoy some music, and I guess we're having art and food. And, oh, the students will be there? All right, perfect.
I got nothing. I'm still digesting the $600,000. So, God pass.
All right.
I'd like to thank Mr. Williams for his comments about getting youth more involved. I think it makes a lot of sense. I know we've tried to do things that would appeal to youth. Perhaps you have some ideas that you'd like to share. So, you know, I'll ask the mayor if there's any way that we could get something involved here, and we can put it on the burner, front burner, and see what we can do about that. I also wanted to correct a misinformation. Ms. Foster said something about safe built in closed sessions, and that's an illegal use of closed sessions. We don't meet with Safe Built in closed sessions. They're a vendor, and we hire them to do this work for us. And so that's a misunderstanding that I just needed to clear up. Mr. Van Hooker asked about getting in contact, and for me, the best way is through email.
Email.
And I think most council
It's on the
members
website.
use their email that way. And so please do, you know, try the email address. Again, it's accurate in the calendar, it's accurate on the city website. So,
It's not on the calendar at all.
well, check on the website. I know that we've got stuff up there. What else? I think that's pretty much everything that I put a note next to. One other thing, Mr. Wagner, the property turnover is for foreclosed properties. And so not all properties that may be absent or, you know, unused in Harper Woods are in foreclosure. So I think that's the the context that we're talking about here is that it has to go into foreclosure through the county, and that's what these particular properties are. That's all.
I'll take it brief. I'm really glad to kind of hear about the part thing, and I want to keep that moving, and I want City Council to be really supportive of it. Even though I'm in Harper Woods, I am part of the Grosse Pointe Schools, and I have been attending some of the meetings, and they've changed all the administration they had that was moving forward in certain ways. Because when they closed Picard, they also closed Trombley. The elementary school, and because they didn't want any more charter schools in the Grosse Pointe. Right now, that thing is kind of, I've heard rumors, there's discussion about what they're going to do with Trombley now. And so I'm really glad that we're moving forward with this. And I'm City Council, I'm sure we all going to be forward with this, and we're going to help you meet all those deadlines that you need to keep the park moving.
I want to thank all of you for coming to the meetings and getting involved and sharing your passions. And I know it seems frustrating. You come to the council meetings and you share what you want to say, and you like some results. Sometimes things take longer in government than they would like in business or something. Than anything that's in government, expect it to take at least 10 times longer than it would in business. That's been a source of frustration. But I want to encourage you to keep coming and continue talking to us.
Respectfully.
Yes, respectfully, right. When I first started coming to meetings, I came because there was an abandoned house next to me, and the kids had broken into the house, and so I went in to get them out of the house and realized that the water was just like rolling down the walls and the floors were falling in, and I was very concerned. I mean, I guess houses are kind of my thing, and restoring them, but you know, but that's just how I got started on the council. So you never know. You just never know what happens, what comes out of this. So I just want to say I do appreciate you sharing and keeping us informed of what's going on in the city. And if you need anything, feel free to let me know, as I'm sure all the other council members feel that way too.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank the Harper Woods School District for allowing us to use the parking lot. Because of the weather, we almost did not have National Night Out, but Mr. McGee was kind enough to allow us to use the high school parking lot, and we were able to set up the stage there, and people were able to sit on the cement as opposed to trying to maneuver on wet grass, and I mean truly wet grass. So I want to publicly thank the Harper Woods School District for allowing us to have our National Night Out. A lot of communities did not have it because of the rain, but we knew that, we felt that the rain was going to stop supposedly, and it did, but the grounds were saturated. So, because of relationships and we all here together, working together, the school district allowed us to use the parking lot. So I'm grateful to that. I want to thank the church group and the NEDC group for helping out at the National Volunteers for the National Night Out. And we can't do it without volunteers. It's a wonderful event, and we had everything for kids. And really, Maria, thank you so much for you all evening painting little ones' faces. They were happy and thrilled. And so, one more thing. Mr. Wagner, you asked about the foreclosures. One of the things that has happened with we used to have an abundance of properties being foreclosed, but now that the treasurer has all these different programs, payment programs, that people are able to keep their properties with paying these things, paying your property taxes and increments and stuff. So we don't have as many properties that come into the foreclosure like we had once upon a time. Hopefully we keep down this venue where we only have a few homes. And the reason that we once we make the commitment that we're going to buy the properties, it's on us. If the people back out and don't do what they, then that's on the city. So therefore, we have to make sure that we vet the people that buy the property to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. And we don't want renters. We want people to sell those homes and make them back on the tax rolls as homeowners. So that's one of the reasons that things have changed. And we don't really want it to go to the land bank because, as Councilwoman Constantino said, that's when foreigners come in and you have no connection to the property. So we're trying to make sure that it's local people and the people that we can put our hands on if they mess up. And that's them. So once again, thank you all. And I am not anybody's whooping board. You can sit here and say whatever you like, but I will not tolerate anyone to stand there and be disrespectful and call me out of my name or say disparaging things. I'm not nobody's whipping boy. So if you feel that way, put it in some other kind of form, but don't come into my face and think I'm gonna just be a patsy for you. I'm not. And talking about pay, we are all basically volunteers up here. And that's because we want to improve the quality of life for this community. Now, we don't all agree, but we all do agree that we're here for the betterment of our community. And if you have ideas that you want to sit forward and want to make changes, come with them. But to stand here and be negative and disrespectful, it's not going to be accepted. And the next time it happens, I will cut you off at the very beginning, because I don't have to take that. Mr. Jennings.
Okay, okay. Madam Mayor, make a motion for adjournment.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Nobody
Thank
should
you.
be swearing